Hey everyone, my name's Eric. I'm the lead designer at Hoseki, and in this video, I want to walk you through some of the product and design choices that we made when we designed the multi-sig connection flow. So I'm going to walk you through the process of connecting a multi-sig with Hoseki so you can use the funds that you hold in your multi-sig as part of the balance for the statement that you generated. In the previous video, I walked you through the process of connecting a single SIG account. And in that video, I touched on some of the kind of foundational concepts of Hoseki, like claims and how claims can be stacked up and used to create a larger statement. So in this video, I might refer to some of those things. If you haven't seen the first video, I suggest you do so. For now, let's just jump right into it. So to get started, we're first going to have to select the multi-sig option from your claims screen. And that is found right over here. So when we select that, just like in the previous flows, we've always designed it so at the top, there's a nice animation that just kind of at a high level explains to the user what they're going to be doing here and what a multi-sig is, and just a very kind of friendly animation that just kind of gently touches on the concept. Underneath that, we have some copy with a little bit more direct and clear instructions that lets the user know exactly what they need to have prepared and what to expect for this process. So we can see here that what I'll need to do is upload my wallet's descriptor file and then sign a message with the hardware devices that are a part of that multi-sig to get started. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And now we're at kind of the first task, which is to upload your descriptor. So what we refer to this as identification. And basically what we're doing is we're taking a descriptor file, which is kind of like a map of your multi-sig. It defines how many keys make up your multi-sig, what those keys are, and it allows us to basically read your multi-sig and be able to reconstruct it and have an understanding for which keys kind of make it up. And let's take a look at the multi-sig that we'll be connecting. So over here, I have Sparrow open and I have a multi-sig with 600 sats in it. And if I go to settings here, I could see the quorum. I could see that this is a 2 out of 3 multi-sig. I could see the keys that this consists of. So it consists of 2 ledgers and a Trezor. And because I'm a little bit of a more advanced user, I know what an output descriptor is. I know that that's found here. I have an idea of kind of what this consists of and where to find it. So that's all and well for me because I'm a little bit more comfortable with multi-sig. So this is going to be what we're connecting here. Now, let's say that you might not be that comfortable with multi-sig, or you're not that much of an advanced user. That's okay, because we have a link here to our help center where we have documentation for every software wallet that you can use to configure or manage your multi-sig. We have a visual guide that explains how you can get the information or the file that you need in order to upload to Hoseki so that we can identify your multi-sig. And there's some detailed instructions here explaining the kind of the different options. And if you go back to Hoseki, we see that we offer 2 ways for you to identify your multi-sig. You can upload a file using the instructions that we just reviewed, or if you're a little bit more advanced, maybe a little bit more comfortable, you can just paste your output descriptor directly here. That'll work. Let's go with the kind of default option, which is the output descriptor upload. So I've already downloaded, I'm going to upload it. And what Hoseki is going to do now is identify your multi-sig. So it's going to read your descriptor. It's going to identify the amount of keys that the multi-sig consists of. And it's going to identify how many keys are required signers. And up here at the top, we're introducing this kind of UI convention of a key avatar and then a glowing ring that changes in color depending on the state. So since this is a 2 out of 3, we see a total of 3 keys, but only 2 of them have this kind of glowing ring status. And this is a convention that we're going to be reusing throughout this process, but I just want to kind of briefly touch on it here so I can kind of point it out to you and explain how we use it throughout the multi-sig connection process. But now that we've identified the multi-sig, let's just give it a name. I'm just going to call it the primary multi-sig, but you can give it whatever custom name you want. So now we're going to hit next. And now we've landed on the multi-sig home screen. So this is a screen where you've already identified your multi-sig, you've named it, And we've identified how many keys it consists of. And your task now is to confirm ownership of the keys that are a part of that multi-sig. So then you have a valid claim of ownership. And once you do that, the balance of that Bitcoin multi-sig can be used to, can be included in your statements. So at the very top, we have the name of the multi-sig. We have the total number of keys. And then over here, again, we have that same kind of UI convention where we have the keys listed here. And if we hover over the keys, we get a little bit more context. So if we hover over the second key, we let the user know that before you can start, working on the second key, you need to, make some progress on the first key. If we hover over the third key, we let the user know that this third key is not required. You're not required to prove ownership in order to prove control of this multi-sig, since it's a 2 out of 3. And we can see that the icons differentiate themselves a little bit. These have kind of plus icons, and this has kind of like an empty state icon. So my first task, I'm working on key number 1. It's currently in a pending state with this kind of yellow ring. My first task is now quite similar to signing for a single sig. I need to select the hardware device, confirm ownership by signing a message so I can get that first key verified. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I have my hardware wallets here next to me. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one, which is Trezor. So I have my Trezor connected. I'm going to just review these simple instructions, and we can see that we're following that kind of same convention of an image at the top, providing a high level overview, and then some more detailed text here that lets you know exactly what it is you need to get started. And I can see that the first thing I need to do is unlock my Trezor. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to enter my PIN here on my Trezor device and unlock it. Perfect. So now that it's unlocked, I'm going to proceed to the next step. I'm going to hit next. And I can see that what we're going to do now is confirm that this device is part of your multi-sig. That's very important because if you're using the wrong device, if you accidentally grab the wrong device, when we perform this check, we'll be able to identify that and let you know, hey, this isn't the correct device. Go look for the correct device. And if you're a little bit more advanced, you can expand technical details and get an idea of kind of how we're doing this with XPubs and derivation paths. But let's just perform the initial check. So I'm going to hit check now. And what Hoseki is doing is it's going to open up the official Trezor SDK. It's going to request read-only access to the Trezor in order to verify that this signing device is part of the multi-sig form that I uploaded. So I'm going to just run through that flow, and we could see here that Hoseki has successfully identified this signing device as part of the multi-sig. So now that it's been successfully identified, I'm going to just give it a quick name. I'm going to call this the Model 3 Orange. Hit continue. And I can see at the top, now that that device has been identified, it's been relabeled and it's been marked with an identified status here. And I want to highlight that this kind of top section of the multi-sig connection flow is where the UI changes to reflect the amount of progress that you've done. So as you're working here at the bottom and making progress in identifying these devices, the top part will update to kind of give the user this kind of visual indicator of where they are in the flow. We wanted to design this in a way that the user never felt lost or they weren't confused when it came to what device am I working on or how far along am I on, the progress of verifying that particular device. So now we're going to proceed with the process of proving ownership of this device. And again, we do that by signing a message. So now at this point, we're just pretty much replicating the single sig flow. So it's going to let the user know what to expect. It's explaining, what we're doing here. You're proving control by signing a message. There's animations that explain kind of what message signing is in a visual kind of high level. The user can read this. They can proceed. They could see in detail exactly the message that they're going to be signing for, the individual address, the derivation path. And if they hover over the tooltips, we give them kind of extra context if the user needs more information or if they're curious. But it's really important here that the user has a very clear point of reference for what it is they're signing for, because if you are a a diligent user, you're going to want to verify this physically on your device to make sure that everything is one-to-one and there's no funny business happening. So now that I see this message, I'm going to hit Prove Control, and I could see that it says waiting for device confirmation. It's opening up the Trezor SDK. I'm going to go ahead and just confirm the Trezor SDK, and I could see follow instructions on your device. And I'm looking at my device now, and I could see a derivation path. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm. I could see the address, and I'm going to just look at the address on my screen. I'm going to make sure that the digits match. It does. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. And now I could see the entire message. I'm going to go ahead and just briefly review that message, make sure that everything matches, and it does. I'm going to confirm the signing of the message, and that's it. So now we've identified the first key. The user has received a success message. We've let them know that they've successfully verified and proven control of that first key, and now they can proceed to the next key. So now if we move on to the next key, we could see at the top that the progress has been updated. So the first key has now been identified with the Trezor icon, and it's been marked with the green check to indicate that this first key has been successfully verified. So now it's a 2 out of 3. So we'll just repeat this process with the other signers. So I'm just going to quickly run through the process with Ledger. It'll be pretty much identical. So on my Ledger here, I'm just going to unlock it and sign a message quickly. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because this is going to be the same exact process that we reviewed in the previous video. But I'm just going to kind of speed run this. That way, you could see the final confirmation of a multi-sig connection. So I'm just unlocking my Ledger here. I'm launching the Bitcoin software, and I can see it's been recognized. I'm going to connect it here. It's, again, identifying it. I'm going to call this the Ledger Silver. Hit continue. It's been identified up there, and we're just repeating the UI and the design conventions at this point. I'm going to prove control. And on my Ledger, sure enough, I could see that I'm being asked to sign a message. I'm going to review that message, sign it. And now that I've signed for 2 out of 3, the multi-sig has been verified. Because it's a 2 out of 3, you've signed for 2 keys, as we've indicated here in the card. The Trezor and the Ledger icon have green checks because they've been signed for, and we can see that this claim has now been verified. So now if I go to generate statement, I can see that that primary Bitcoin multi-sig with the 600 sats is now an option that I can include in my statement. So by verifying that multi-sig, it becomes yet another account or yet another kind of place where I hold my Bitcoin that I can include as part of my statement with Hoseki. And that is the process for connecting multi-sigs. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found this interesting. If there's any part of this that you thought was interesting, that maybe you thought was confusing, or if you have any feedback at all for how we've built this and how we've designed this from a product point of view, please reach out to me directly. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you online. Bye.